with you to share my weekly workshop. I'm just getting a few things set up. Boom, boom, done. So, yeah, I'm Miriam Smout, founder and creator of Redemption Mamas, a place where I've been so blessed to be able to grow myself, but also mentor women in the heart healing space, a space that I feel is underrated. I really know from my own journey that there's the mind, there's the emotions, there's a lot of stuff, but there's also a part of us, that control center part of us, the heart, that is a really critical piece to manage, to look after, to care for. And it's time we as women started to focus and restore the heart within us, the heart that is our control center, is that beautiful part of us that can reflect amazing things. But when it's broken, when it's hurt, when it's wounded, it doesn't always do quite what we would hope and wish that it would. So today, because it's leading into Christmas, not far off, 2 weeks, my husband tells me, to Christmas, always sneaks up on you at this time of the year. Wishing you such a merry, blessed Christmas with your loved ones and your family, friends, however you choose to celebrate Christmas in your home and in your life. Today, though, I was just pondering why Christmas can often be a time to trigger us. Christmas is a season that's so full of symbolism, memories, expectations, spiritual meaning, but it also has the capacity to activate some old wounds, activate some parts of us, the 3 parts of us, our body, soul, and spirit. And I wanted to share a little bit about that today, because it just happened for me this week that I was triggered. Some stuff that had, I thought, gone right back into the back burner resurfaced. And what it did for me was trigger some emotions and trigger some memories that really I had to manage very carefully, because it wasn't very pleasant. And so when these things happen, there's a number of ways we can manage it. We can point the finger at others and blame them, and they're at fault, and if they hadn't have, and they should have, and all that kind of stuff. And so I've tried that process in the past and found that all it does is tend to make things worse, because you're trying to fix somebody else. You're trying to fix the other person. So on my heart healing journey, and as I really strongly suggest with the women that I have been so blessed to partner with on their journey, I know that the first place I have to start is with myself. I need to start with me. So at this time of the year, in this season, this Christmas season, where there can be so much joy and there can be so much wonderful celebrating, I'm not sure you're human if there was nothing that could trigger you and bring about some old painful memories or wounds or hurts that maybe haven't been fully healed. And while this is a journey, I'm not wanting to suggest that we get healed and that's it, we're a done thing. In fact, I'm on this journey now, 20 odd years later, still finding, like this week, there's things that can trigger and really cause me to kind of reel back a bit and go, whoa, where did that come from? So I wanted to share a bit about Christmas and those triggers and how they impact our life. One of the most powerful and beautiful teachings that I had in my journey was with a beautiful woman called Marina. I used to go to her group a couple of times a week, and she would teach us about living in alignment, body, soul, and spirit. Honestly, it took me years to understand what was she talking about. What is she meaning? What is going on here? What does living in alignment, body, soul, and spirit, actually mean, and what does it actually look like? It was a new concept for me. And so over those years, as I've journeyed and pondered and teased this whole concept out, I've understood how powerful it is to know what living in alignment looks like. So we are a three-part being. You have a body, don't need to describe that too much. We have a soul, and you are spirit. You are more spirit than you probably, and I know for me, I'm coming to learn and realize, more spirit than I've ever understood before. You know, your body is your nervous system. It's the thing that goes into survival when you get triggered. So I want to talk today about those triggers at the physical level. You know, where do they come from? How do they impact us? Triggers like childhood memories that are linked to stress or conflict, maybe going into a crowd and there's all this noise and light and overstimulation. Maybe it's the pressure to attend certain events or the pressure to be polite to someone else who attends those events. These things trigger our body, they trigger our nervous system, and we can go into survival response, which is what the trigger is. It's a survival response. It's like, whoa, hang on, I remember this. This is something that wasn't very pleasant. It hurt, it was painful, it caused me grief. And so your body remembers. We actually remember things at a cellular level. And even though your mind maybe doesn't consciously recall all those events or what's transpired as a result of that, your body remembers. And there's a powerful book that I found so helpful called Your Body Keeps the Score. I can't remember the author's name, but it's a hard read, but it is a read worth reading because it helps you to understand that parasympathetic nerve system that we get touched when old wounds are sort of scratched at again. This is what brings triggers in our body. So the body is the first part that we're wanting to keep in alignment. The next is the soul. So our soul is our mind, our will, our emotions, our desires, our thought patterns. It really is a major part of our identity. And sorry, that's my dog barking. When your body or your memory gets triggered, you might feel things in your soul. You might feel pain, you might feel loss, you might feel disappointment. You might think, oh, this is old patterns resurfacing. This is the old family stuff coming back again. You might feel pressure to be something that you don't want to be. You might feel a loneliness or an emptiness inside of you. And so Christmas is definitely a time that can amplify what's already sitting under the surface that hasn't had the healing that we would have liked. And that's not a bad thing. That just means there's more. Yay, we get to actually dive deeper into understanding what is going on inside of us at a deeper level. So there's your body, there's your soul, and then there's your spirit. That spirit man is just the essence of who we are. It's that deep, deep self, that deep intuition, that deep sense of purpose. And when things trigger us, our spirit can often respond by feeling really disconnected or lacking a sense of meaning, particularly feeling disconnected from God and from other significant relationships. And that's a pain, you know, that then triggers our soul, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the triggers in the spirit, you know, feeling disconnected, maybe there's some trauma from the past, mixed messages about religion or about relationships. These are the deep essence of who we are, our identity. And these things, when they get triggered, can pull us out of alignment. Sometimes you'll feel triggered because you just feel spiritually empty or overwhelmed, and you're longing for some peace or a sense of belonging. So Christmas can awaken deep questions about who am I? Where do I belong? What do I actually even believe? Christmas, while it can be a wonderful time of celebration and joy, it can also be a time that brings triggers. And if it hadn't have happened to me this week, I probably wouldn't be thinking about sharing this today, but it did. And when those things happen, when those triggers come up, in the past, I used to think, oh, I thought I was healed of this. I thought I got over that. I thought I was better. But what I've realized is that I'm an onion and there are layers, layer upon layer upon layer, that my Papa God, he just so graciously peels away gently, little by little by little. To be honest, if everything had been ripped open in my life 20 years ago, I probably would just be not compos mentis. The Holy Spirit is a gentleman, and he so gently, sweetly, graciously removes the things that need removing in a timely, kind, gentle way. When I come across things that trigger me, sometimes I just want to rip into that person and cut them off at the knees and pay them back for hurting me. And I'm so glad that my Papa G, my God, does not treat me that way, but he is a gentleman. So over this Christmas period, if you find that you're getting triggered and your body is reacting, maybe you are feeling that sense of that nervous system is being stimulated, overstimulated, you're feeling stress and conflict inside. If you are becoming aware that, there's emotions rising up of grief and disappointment, this is not wrong. It's just a signal. Emotions are a powerful signal that something more needs a little bit of attention, maybe a lot of attention, whatever. It's up to us to read the signs, read the signals, and do what we can to be rational, especially when you're triggered emotionally, and not give up the true identity of who we are. When we react badly, it's not who we truly are. It's not who you truly are. It's not who I truly am. But it can be very hard for others around us to kind of separate and divide that ugly thing that just came out of that person. That's not really them. It really hurt me and it really caused me some pain, but it's so hard to separate the person from the behavior when these things are coming at you and you're feeling the triggers coming, rising up. So while the season is hectic for some, it's painful for others, I thought I'd just like to share some ways that might help to stay in alignment, body, soul, and spirit. When triggers come and triggers rise and you feel like you're losing the plot a little bit. So we've got to work at aligning our body. And this means to bring our nervous system into a safe place, into a place where we can calm and we can get ourselves back into balance again. So there's some really simple ways that we can do this with our body. Firstly, breathing. Breathing has become a very powerful technique and strategy for me over the last year or so. The long exhale breathing, which is breathing, say, in for 4, hold, breathe out for 6 or 8, as long as you can breathe out. Breathing out for longer than you breathe in helps to bring you some calm in a stressful moment, helps to bring you into peace, helps you bring you into a place where you can just relax. Long exhale breathing, really fantastic. Grounding, I've been finding this to be a wonderful process as well. Feeling the earth under my feet, taking my shoes off and just sitting and resting and grounding myself. These are ways that we can help our body when we're getting triggered and bring that body back into alignment. Things like movement can help as well, just slow, Gentle movements, a gentle walk, stretching, shaking out the tension, all of these things, simple as they are, really do help to bring the body into alignment. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure you're keeping warm or keeping cool. All of those things cause our body to go into stress. And if we're already in stress and then we're triggered by something, we could actually end up doing and saying things that we regret. And the other thing too is that if you notice some of these signs in your body early, um, maybe you can step away from the situation before it really spikes and gets out of control. So do what you can to align your body. Then the soul. This is the place that I find is the hardest and the most difficult to manage. My inner emotional world can be quite chaotic at times, and I must manage it. I must take some time to step aside and let my soul find a voice, find a place to have some expression, to have some downtime. Your mind, your will, your emotions, your desires, all of those things, when they're chaotic, they bring your soul out of alignment. And the soul can be a really bossy thing. And once your soul has brought you out of alignment, it's chaotic because it just ends up causing us to do things that we regret. So some ways that you can bring your sign into into alignment is to name the emotion. What are you feeling? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling anxious? What is it you're feeling? Name that emotion. Give it a name. Once we actually name something, we can do so much more to really process what's going on inside of us. Naming things, it's a powerful thing. We name our kids, right? we name many things, but naming emotions, that is one of the most dynamic things that we can do. You know, when you're in that festive season and you're in that place that maybe there's an expectation that you're going to be festive and joyful and be part of that emotion and you're not feeling it, you can actually give yourself permission to let go of the idea that that's where you've got to be. Obviously, it might impact some people around you, but if you can communicate that and share what's needing or needful for you in the moment, especially if it is a season where you've had loss or there's grief and you have some things that you need to process, just do it. You know, sit down and journaling or just voice notes on your phone. These are ways to process what's coming up to the surface, what's surfacing for you. Journaling is just such an incredible way to give a voice to those emotions, give a voice to the pain, give a voice to the wound, give a voice to whatever might be happening at a deeper level for you. And when I've read back over my journaling at times, I've been astounded to actually go, I had no idea that it was so deep or so intense. And so it's an expression, but it's also a connection with what is really going on underneath the surface. You know, create some boundaries as well. If there's triggers that cause your emotional world to be in a little bit of turmoil, create some boundaries like, I can only stay for an hour. Give yourself a time frame with people that might not be helpful or might trigger you. I had to do this with my mother for quite some years because there was a brokenness in our relationship. And I just learnt that if I stayed past an hour, things would tip over into really not pleasant stuff. But I knew that I had an hour and we could enjoy that hour. And then I would need to say, I've got to go. So putting a time frame on something, creating a boundary by putting a time frame, that is really helpful. Just being upfront saying, I'm not actually going to discuss that topic today. Create a boundary over what you're going to engage in. And if you're not willing to engage in that, or you feel engaging or discussing something is just going to cause triggers and brokenness, then put a boundary around it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Just say, sorry, yeah, not a discussion topic, not up for discussion today. The other thing, with our soul is that it's hard for, say, joy and grief to coexist. It is difficult. They are conflicting emotions, but give yourself permission to actually feel them both at the same time. There can be some joy in what you're doing in the season, but there's some sadness. So let them just both be, and don't try and push one down and make the other surface, or push the joy down and just be miserable all day. Give yourself permission to feel them both, even at the same time. Alignment in your soul means being really honest with yourself, and not performing for the sake of others, but just being really honest with you. So aligning our body, our nervous system, through breathing, through grounding, through walking, having simple, gentle exercises, just drinking plenty of water, all of those things, very, very helpful. Aligning the soul by being really honest with yourself, naming the emotion, journaling, these things, creating boundaries, they're so helpful in this process. So what can you do to align your spirit, to reconnect with your deepest truth and really find peace, maybe in the moment that you're experiencing that trigger that might be coming up for you? These are some things that I practice. I might just spend some quiet moments in meditating. I did that this morning because some old memories were coming up, and they'd come up because of a trigger that had happened. And I knew that I had a choice of letting those old memories take over, or doing something that was going to quieten them. And so I spent some time in just resting, creating space to take time to do a meditation, and then just some quiet prayer, and then asking myself, what is the truth right now? Right now, is the truth this old pattern, this old behavior? Do I have to agree with it? Do I have to embrace it? What is my truth right now? I found that this morning to be a really helpful part of getting my spirit back into alignment. Another thing is our spirit is light, it's life, it's the essence of who we are. And so just sitting and allowing light to fill your being, visualizing light filling your body, just filling you with life and light and joy and peace, focusing on those things rather than on the thing that triggered, like shifting the focus away from the trigger to the things that you really want to be filling your spirit right in this moment. These are ways that help your spirit to stay in alignment. Gratitude, another way. This is such a powerful way. There's probably the trigger has brought up some old memories and you're not very grateful for them. But there's probably many things you can be grateful for right now. And so just spending a few times alone, present with yourself and the things that you can be grateful for, this can turn into worship. It can turn into many things that just help you to see that not everything is bad. There are some really beautiful, good things that, while that trigger has set off some bad memories and some bad responses, there are good things right there in your life that you can be thankful about. Spiritual alignment helps to bring clarity and strength, even in the chaos around us, in the triggers that might be setting off for us right now. Spiritual alignment is a really important and powerful part of staying in alignment, body, soul, and spirit. When our soul takes us off, our mind, our will, our emotions, it takes us off in another direction. If we don't capture it real quick, it can be very chaotic and just be an emotional roller coaster ride and take us down, down, down into the deep, dark depths of misery and disconnection, and just losing the opportunity to enjoy what we can enjoy. So this season, this Christmas season, I hope and pray for you that while there may be triggers, and for me, there's already some that have popped up, they're not failures. It's just feedback. Feedback that there's still a little bit more work to do on your soul, on your spirit, on your body, to keep yourself in alignment. So, a few, just some daily alignment rituals or practices that you could use during this season, Christmas season start, if you haven't started, are these. For your body, breathe. And I like to just place my hand on my chest, on my heart, or one on my chest and one on my stomach. And I find that when I'm really looking for a way to bring myself back into a state of equilibrium, that I use the long exhale breathing, which is to maybe inhale for 4, exhale for 8, and repeat that 5 or 6 times. You'll feel yourself starting to calm because you're getting out all of that stress and that anxiety. So long exhale breathing for your body. There's one simple thing that you could do each day or in the moments when those triggers come up. Another simple thing you can do for your soul is check in. Just check in and ask yourself, what am I feeling? What is it that I need right now? What am I feeling? What is this emotion, this trigger? What is it making me feel? And check in and name that emotion, connect with it. It doesn't have to be dealt with then and there, but when you can check in and actually see what's going on, that's a powerful, powerful step in managing and staying in alignment. And then your spirit, what can you do to really center yourself and bring your spirit into a place of peace? And so something I will often do is I will just close my eyes and I'll whisper to myself, I am held. I am grateful. I am safe. Centering myself and just leaning in and sensing that presence of Holy Spirit with me, around me, holding me. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it helps to center my spirit. So, these things don't even need to take more than a couple of minutes. Just simple daily rituals or practices to stay in alignment. Give it a try, because I think you'll find that it's a whole lot more beneficial than maybe you can even imagine. So this Christmas season, I'm wishing you all the best. All the best to manage triggers and things that come up that often cause us to miss some of the joy, miss some of the beauty around us. And I don't want that for me, and I don't want that for you. So I'm sharing this today with you just to wish you a Merry Christmas and to remind myself what I need to do to manage over this season, to stay in peace, to stay in peace. Peace. I want to stay in peace and to be able to enjoy some of what goes on around us. I hope this has been helpful, and Have a very blessed, have a very wonderful Christmas season. I love you. God bless.